Ooh. Ain't nobody sponsoring me. Ain't nobody getting no free promo. So let me put this shit on the flow. What it do? It's your host with the most, Real Taylor Nicole, back at it again with another video for y'all. This is Movies with Tay. And if you ain't watching movies, then what you watching the podcast for? Go watch a movie and then come on back. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. Listen, it's your host with the most, Real Taylor Nicole. This is Movies with Tay podcast, where I'm bringing in that flavor and telling you about a movie, my style, my way, recapping it my way or the highway, because I don't care what you say, alright? And I want to tell y'all, happy Friday, happy Friday, happy Friday, happy Friday. I hope y'all tuning in to a happy Friday, happy Friday, happy Friday. I hope y'all tuning in to a happy Friday. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Let me tell y'all how funny things work, and how life is so funny. So I had shot this episode early in the morning, right? And my camera or my phone, for some reason, didn't have no storage. And that episode, I only got to record 20 minutes of an almost hour-long episode. And I'm glad it messed up, because there was no energy in that video whatsoever. I was so groggy, man. So now we bringing you that flavor, because I'm here to bring it. Anyway, so as y'all know, your host with the most, Real Taylor Nicole, always loves to bring y'all that flavor, that new perspective of whether it's an old movie, new movie, crazy movie, how the movie. So, that's just what I like to do. Also, hopefully you guys have watched the final episode of Black History Monday for the Fred Hampton edition. When we branch into a new segment, I had a special request, so I'm going to honor that special request for next month. And then the following month, there's a gentleman who mentioned someone in the comment section, and because of that, I already got May's month figured out with the character, but June now has a person I want to talk about. That most of you people probably don't know who they are or nothing about them. So we got June booked. If you want me to pick somebody for you for July, put it either in this comment section or go back and go watch one of the Black History videos and put it in that comment section. I'm always watching my comment sections, y'all. So if you want me to pick somebody for you for July, put it in the comment section and I will gladly pick it. And if yours doesn't get picked for July, you might get picked for August. It might get picked for September, October, November, December. Until I'm tired of doing these Black History videos, y'all gonna get a Black History video every week. Whether it's about the same person or a different person, y'all gonna get a Black History video every week. Alright? On top of that, every Wednesday, y'all gonna get a mini series. Now, the mini series could be Anguished. It could be the new series that's getting ready to drop on May 14th, the therapy session series. So, the point is, over time, your girl is getting a little bit better with cameras, editing. Now, I'm not gonna lie, the first season of Anguish and the first season of the therapy session, those videos, the quality is great, but the angles and the I'm learning a lot. Let's just put it that way. I'm learning a lot. With all that being said, that and I'm sorry if you're watching. I'm sorry if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, because you do have to get a YouTube account or be on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, Facebook, or all of that jazz where you can find me at, to watch the mini series and also the Black History videos. I do apologize. You do have to have one of those accounts to watch it. It's not on Apple Podcasts or Spotify because it's not a podcast. So, with that being said, if you would like to see it in full versus watching it part and you don't want to get an Instagram, you don't want to get a TikTok, a Threads, a Facebook, if you don't want to get none of that, but you already have a Patreon account, If you go to patreon.com/movieswithtay, you can, and I promise you, you can go watch the entire full episode for What Happened in Central Park, Fred Hampton edition for Black History, and the full series of Anguish, right along with the full series of the therapy session. Because therapy session is 12 episodes, so that means it's going to run for 12 weeks, which is going to give me enough time to get Anguish season 2 taken care of for y'all. But the point is that therapy session, Anguished, all the Black History videos, the entire full series and segment is going to be on my Patreon. So if you don't like YouTube, you don't like Instagram, Facebook, or Threads, go to Patreon. If you already got a Patreon account, run me $3 a month, and and once I actually start getting more people in there, y'all gonna start getting backstage videos. Y'all gonna start getting bloopers from the pod, because I'll be messing up on the podcast. But y'all gonna get all kind of stuff. But I gotta get more people to show me that you guys are vibing with me, you guys are rocking with me, for me to feel comfortable to continue to you know push push more content on the Patreon. Because right now it's quite a bit of Patreon episodes and things on Patreon, but not enough Patreon supporters, and that's okay. I understand. We all don't got $3 to just blow like that, and I understand that. But if you do, come mess with your girl so I can give y'all more content, and then also I can start doing live Q&As. I can start doing live screenings while I'm watching a movie, and we could talk live while I'm watching the movie. I'll tell you the day before or 2 weeks before what movie I want to watch, and we can do a live chat about it, or we can do a live chat about a TV show. The point is, your host with the most is always going to bring you that new flavor. And with that being said, let's jump into episode 41. And if y'all ain't been able to tell, I kind of been keeping the train rolling with this man right here. But no other than episode 41, The Hateful Eight. This movie runs for about 2 hours and 55 minutes, unless you watch it on Netflix, then it's 2 hours and 47 minutes. The release date is December 25th of 2015. Yes, Christmas Day 2015, which was 10 years ago almost, this movie was released. And of course, it was directed and written by no one other than my main man, Quentin Tarantino. This man right here is legendary. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care what fetishes y'all say he got or how weird he is. This man legendary when it comes to doing these films, baby. He, hands down, I would love to work with Quentin Tarantino. Quentin Tarantino, if you ever see this, I would love to work with you, man. I would love to. You are hands down one of my favorite directors and writers. One of them. I got a couple other ones besides just you, but definitely I would love to work with you, hands down. My wish list to work with is Tyler Perry, Quentin Tarantino, Spike Lee, Denzel Washington, and then surprisingly a young cat who he ain't young but young, DeVal Ellis. That's my number 5 for the men. That's just for the men. For the women, I would love to work with Angela Bassett, Tasha Smith. My brain just went foggy on my girl. Oh, Jill Scott. I would love to work with her. Not necessarily on directing, but I would love to work with Jill Scott. Felicia Rashad, and also her sister, Debbie Allen. Those 5 women right there. Oh, chef's kiss. I would love to work with them 10 people. But my bad. We supposed to be getting in on the on this segment. Let me reel it back in. So, once again, directed and written by Quentin Tarantino, presented by the Weinstein Company. The producers for this film is Stacey Shear, Richard N. Gladstein, and Shannon McIntosh. Where you can watch this movie: Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, Google Play TV and Movies, Apple TV, and Fandango at Home. Once again, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Google Play and Movies and TVs, Apple TV. I said that all kind of wrong. Let me redo that. Netflix, Amazon Prime, Google Movies and TV, Apple TV, and Fandango at Home. That is where you can watch this film. Now, y'all know how I like to do. I gotta give y'all the cast, baby. I can't get into telling y'all about the film if I don't give you the cast first. So, like I said, it's called The Hateful Eight. So The Hateful Eight goes as follows. And this is how I read on the screen. I'm not being sexist, and I'm not putting people in a category based on what I like them. This is how their names appeared on the screen. First off, we got Mr. Samuel L. Jackson as Major Marquess Warren. We got Kurt Russell as John Ruth, Jennifer Jason Lee as Daisy Domergue, Walton Goggins, Walton Goggins as Sheriff Chris Mannix, Damian Beecher as Bob, Tim Roth as Oswaldo Mulberry, Michael Madison as Joe Gage, Bruce Dern as General Sandy Smithers, and then a few of the co-stars, which really was just three that I felt the need to mention, was James Parks as O.B., Channing Tatum as Jody, and Dana Guerrero as Miss Minnie. Whew. I think I got through most of them without messing up their name. I think. Like I said, we got Sam Jackson, Kurt Russell, Jennifer Jason Lee, Walton Goggins, Damon Beecher, Tim Roth, Michael Madison, Bruce Dern, James Parks, Channing Tatum, and Dana Guerrero. Whew. I went through that kind of fast. Now, before I get to the next segment, I do want to do one thing and tell you guys. So the first 4.5 minutes of this movie is actually them giving you the credits, not the credits, I'm sorry, giving you the character listing, and then also it's giving, I want to say like a pre-movie intro of some man on a buggy and a horse carriage, if you will. But also too, I ain't did this in a long time, and I feel bad. I feel bad because I ain't done this in a long time, y'all. So I got a few new subscribers that have joined your girl. April 18th, No Good C, you subscribed. I appreciate you. Twin Field, April 3rd, you joined up. I appreciate you. Jace Garvin, February 15th, you joined up. I appreciate you. Lisa Bray joined February 3rd. I appreciate you, mama. Tamika Moore, February 3rd. I appreciate you, mama. Beatrice Claudemire. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. Claudemire. If y'all know me and you've been following me long enough, y'all know I don't know how to say people's names right. You joined up and subscribed back on February 7th. I appreciate you, mama. Linda, Hippo Light, you joined up February 12th. I appreciate you, mama. Tara Farrah Bigham, February 8th. Appreciate you. Christine Holloway, February 9th. Appreciate you. Roxanne, February 23rd. Appreciate you, mama. Everybody that I just listed off, I appreciate every single one of you for subscribing to your girl. Whether you watch the pod or you watch the Black History videos or you watch the mini series or you watch it all, I love y'all. I appreciate it. Y'all the reason why I keep on going. I am really truly shooting for 500 subscribers by the end of this year. I'm not saying it's not possible, but I'm just saying it can be very well possible if you tell a friend to tell a friend to tell another friend to tell a friend to tell another friend to come and watch a friend doing a podcast, Black History videos, and a mini series. Come on over, y'all. Come on. Now, without further ado, because it is my duty to please your eyes and your ears with this podcast, let's jump on in to the second segment, which is recapping the film. Telling the film, y'all, let's crack into it. So, as y'all know, true Quentin Tarantino fashion, it's got to be told in chapters, baby. When it's a movie that make you think, it's got to be told in chapters. Kill Bill, told in chapters. Hateful Eight, told in chapters. If I'm not mistaken, I think Django was told in chapters, but it wasn't, you didn't see the chapters pop up on the screen, so to speak. Pulp Fiction, I think, was told in chapters, but they didn't bring it up on the screen. If you know, you know. Now, let's jump right into it. Chapter 1, The Last Stage to Red Rock. So, this chapter basically talks about how Major Warren ran into John Ruth, Daisy Domergue, and OB in the snow. See, they in a blizzard, right? And Major Warren's horse had to, get put down, unfortunately. So Major Warren and his 3 bounties, which were unalived, were sitting out in the snow, and he was just waiting for somebody to come and pick him up. He just knew somebody would be on that path sooner or later. So he stops OB. OB tells him, you got to talk to the man in the wagon, because he paid a nice little penny to get a private ride. So Major Warren goes over, seizes John Ruth. John Ruth don't recognize Major Warren, and Major Warren don't recognize John Ruth at first. So, John Ruth tell Major Warren, hey, go over there, put your guns down, and let me, holler at you. So as they talking, Major Warren and John Ruth finally realize they know each other, right? So after John Ruth took Major Warren through all that bullshit, he finally let him in, but he made him leave his guns up there with OB, to protect himself, basically. And when he gets in, Major Warren sees Daisy Domergue. And John Ruth tells him about Daisy Domergue, who she is and why she's wanted. She got like a 10K bounty on her head. And, he pretty much tell him, like, I got to protect my 10K. You know what I'm saying? And I get you got your 8 bands, with your 3 bodies and whatnot, but I got to protect my 10K. So, they talking whatever. Daisy Domergue the whole time, Shorty was on straight demon time the entire time, y'all. I mean, it wasn't nothing that Shorty was just on straight demon time, just anything she wanted to say was coming out of her mouth, any and everything. So while they sitting in the little cabin thing, having a little conversation, if you will, Daisy, she making her little disrespectful remarks, and John Ruth is, putting her in her place or whatever the case may be. And he asks Major Warren for his Abraham Lincoln letter that he got, right? So Major Warren, he give it to him. He read, John Ruth is reading it, right? And he shows it to Daisy, and Daisy spit on that mug. And when she spit on it, Major Warren, wow, hit her in her shit. She fly out the carriage. Now, Daisy is handcuffed to John Ruth. So when Major Warren hit Daisy, she flew out. She snatched John Ruth out with her. So OB don't know what's going on. So Major Warren had to tell him to stop. So they stopped the carriage. Sorry, I needed a little pick me up. He stopped the carriage. Warren goes out there to go check on really John Ruth. He didn't care about Daisy, and to go get his letter. And it's this funny clip. I'm gonna put it in there. I can't play the audio, unfortunately, but I think the words are on the screen maybe. But basically, when he went to pick up his letter, Daisy was like, "Is that how you treat a lady?" And Warren was like, "You are not a lady." Fuck up, hit her again. And I know what y'all thinking. Why is him hitting her funny? And it's not funny. It's just the way Quentin Tarantino did that. Maybe it kind of made me laugh just a little bit. But she's a racist. She disrespectful. She a murderer. So like, I'm not saying that she deserved to get hit by 2 grown men, because it was more than just Major Warren that hit her. John Ruth was hitting her too, and he bust her nose open. So not necessarily saying she deserved it, but she kind of did. But anyway, so while they all heading back to the little carriage, if you will, another fella is in the snow, screaming, trying to get their attention, right? So now we go into chapter 2, Son of a Gun. Now, in chapter 2, Son of a Gun, this is a real short scene. They still in the carriage, but this time, because of Major Warren punching Daisy like that, John Ruth had Major put cuffs on, so he couldn't use his hands basically to protect from him killing Daisy. So Chris Mannix gets introduced into the film. Now, Chris Mannix is the new sheriff of Red Rock. At least that's what he tell everybody. He the new sheriff of Red Rock, right? So John Ruth like, man, ain't no way a Mannix is a sheriff of anybody's town. I ain't buying that. But Mannix tell him, like, OB, you better tell your boy, if he let me die in this snow and they found out I died because of him, he's gonna hang. So Ruth like, all right, bro, I'll let you in here, but you gotta put these cuffs on. And Mannix like, no, I'm not doing that. The hell wrong with you? Like, why would I ride into my town in cuffs? Like, nah, bro, I'm not doing that. So John Ruth like, all right, Major, I'm gonna take these cuffs off for you. I'm gonna have OB give you your guns back. I need you to protect my 10. I'm gonna protect your 8, because I don't know what type of time he on. So they make a deal. OB give Warren back his guns. Chris Mannix got to give up his gun, if you know what I'm saying, and he gets in the thing. When he in there, Major Warren and Chris Mannix, they don't know each other, but they know each other. And Chris Mannix is telling all Major Warren's little backstories about how he had a bounty on his head for what he did at a platoon camp. Like he's telling all this business that John Ruth apparently didn't know because John Ruth was taken by surprise by it, right? So they ride into, you know, to the next town that they need to get to, which, like I said, because the conversation that Mannix and Major Warren was having, now John Ruth don't know if he can trust Warren as much as he thought he could. You know what I'm saying? So give me just a second, y'all. Had to make sure it's still recording. So now that happens, now we lead into the biggest chapter of them all, which is chapter 3, Minnie's haberdashery. I'm gonna try to speed through this part as much as possible because it's really, really long and really drawn out. As far as like being able to talk about it, it's drawn out, but watching it is so good. I really might have to rewatch this movie again, especially because it's some stuff in the Hateful Eight that I didn't even realize that I missed the first time watching it. But anyway, like I said, chapter 3, Minnie's haberdashery. So when they pull up, Bob is already outside, and Bob is telling them that Minnie and Sweet Dave ain't there. They left. Minnie went to go see her mama for a week, and Sweet Dave went somewhere, right? So when he say that, the only one who kind of like didn't really believe it was Major Warren, but he ain't say nothing. He just looked like that don't sound right at all. So, John Ruth and Daisy Domergue go inside. When they go inside, the door is busted, right? So they got wood planks and two wood planks in the door and nails holding the door closed because the door is busted. And keep that in mind. If you already seen the movie, you already know where this is going. If you ain't seen the movie, you about to figure out where this is going. But anyway, so OB, Major Warren, Chris Mannix, and Bob all take the horses, the carriage towards the stable. And once they get in there, Major Warren offers to help Bob get the horses settled in, fed, and taking care of everything. And Bob like, nah, you go inside, get warm. I got it. And Warren like, what the fuck wrong with you? I'm offering you help, and you like, what the hell? So he like, you know what? Yeah, you can help me. Trying to not be so inconspicuous, but Major Warren already suspicious of you. So OB and Chris go make like a walk path to the outhouse, to the main house, and then from the main house to the barns and stable to make sure that they keep the horses, you know, fed and taken care of, right? So, and which I got another thing I want to bring up when I get to the notes section too. Let me put that in the notes real quick. Hold on, y'all. Anyway, so while they're in the stable, while Bob and Warner in the stable, John Ruth and Daisy Domergue are inside the place. And while they in there, there's Joe Gage, Sandy Smithers, General Sandy Smithers, and Oswaldo Moberry in there, right? And Oswaldo and John Ruth they having a conversation about his legitimacy with Daisy, and you know need to see the bill to make sure she really not being held captive. And they had this little conversation, and then after they finish, he goes over to Joe Gage, and he basically tell Joe Gage, I need to know who you are because I'm not gonna stay in here with somebody I don't know. So he tells him who he is or whatever, and then John Ruth goes over to Sandy Smithers and tries to talk to him, and Smithers like, I don't want to hear shit out your mouth, my boy. Scoot around, move around, right? So he like, all right, you old motherfucker, cool. So at this point, Chris Mannix and OB are almost done doing their thing, but Major Warren and Bob still in the stables. The only reason they still in the stables is because Major Warren is questioning Bob about his legitimacy at working at Minnie's haberdashery because he don't trust it. Something ain't right. And I'm gonna tell y'all later on why he realized something wasn't right. So he gets to asking Bob a bunch of questions, but Bob know that he know the answer to it. But Major Warren know the only reason why he know the answer to it is because something had to happen. He just can't prove it yet. So Chris Mannix and OB finally go inside the building. When they get in the building, Chris Mannix introduced himself to Oswaldo Marbury. He lets him know I'm about to be the new sheriff of Red Rock, and Oswaldo like, oh, I'm the hangman, and blah 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 blah. They having a whole little get you gotcha, right? Well, while they talking, Chris Mannix notices Sandy Smithers. So he goes over and he has a conversation with him, and they have a little rekindling moment. They don't, like, once again, they don't know each other directly, they know each other indirectly, right? And really Smithers only know Mannix because of Mannix's father. It ain't because of nothing Chris Mannix has done, it's because of their father. But he don't know his father directly either. He just knows about the things he's done, right? So that happens, right? Well, now Bob and Major Warren come back in. Or not be I don't know, I keep saying come back in. I said it in the last one too. But Major Warren and Bob, they come into the mini's haberdashery. Well, when they came in, the first thing Major Warren did that nobody else did is he scanned the fuck out of that room. And excuse my language, he scanned that room, he looked around, and he like, something ain't seeming right to me. But what caught his eye was General Sandy Smithers. And they looked at each other, they locked eyes, and you knew them two knew each other. You could tell by the way they looked at each other that they knew each other. They had some unsettled beef. You could see it from the jump. Well, Warren leaves that be. Chris asks Smithers, does he know him? And Smithers says some racist shit that I'm not going to repeat. Watch the movie so you can hear the racist stuff he say. And now Warren, he's going around, he's kind of scoping out Minnie's haberdashery because he like something ain't right. So he notices a few things. Sweet Dave's chair is still there. He notices that there's stew being made, or that was made. He could smell it, so he noticed stew had been made. And then he noticed that people got their hats on in Minnie's haberdashery, and she don't allow hats. And then when he was getting ready to light his pipe, I think he noticed a jelly bean on the floor, but no jelly bean thing up top. So there were several red flags that alarmed Major Warren. He just couldn't put his finger on it yet. So when that happens, hold on, y'all. Let me make sure, because I ain't had to look at my notes because this movie really be having me. So one thing that General Sandy Smithers said to Chris is that he knew his son Chester Smithers was dead because had he came back home, his son would have been alive. Basically, he was telling him like, my son was supposed to go out and do something and come back, and he never did. So my son is definitely dead. He's 100% dead. So while Major's still kind of scoping out the scenery and checking on the BS, and he kind of just noticing too much shit just ain't right. So while Chris is over there still talking, Major and Sandy Smithers start having a little back and forth, if you will. But Smithers don't want to talk to Major for a couple of reasons, and y'all know most of it because Major black and he white, so you know what I'm saying. And Chris being a little puppet, he repeating what Major said to Smithers and what Smithers says to Major, back and forth. You know what I'm saying? So he being a little puppet in between. So Major like, you keep running your mouth, I'm gonna put something in you. And he kept on talking. Major was about to up it on him. Oswaldo like, hey, don't do that, cause if you kill him, he unarmed. If you kill him, you gonna get hung. Don't do it. So Major like, gotcha. I know what I need to do. So John Ruth finally speaks up and tells Major Warren and Chris Mannix, I don't trust none of these motherfuckers in here. Not a single soul. I don't trust them. I think either one, two, or if not all of them, are working with Daisy. I just can't put my finger on it. I just don't trust it. So, and I think he did say except for the old dude. I think he did say except for Smithers. But Warren, like, you sure you're not paranoid? And Major Warren, like, you sure you're not paranoid? And Ruth, like, John Ruth, like, nah, I ain't paranoid. Oh, I meant to tell you this. So John Ruth, his name is John Ruth, but they also call him the Hangman. That is why Daisy is still alive. Instead of him killing his bounty, he taking her in alive to get her hanged. They call him John Ruth the Hangman. Um, and I think the slogan was "Mean bastards, you need to hang," or something like that. Mean bastards, you need to hang, but mean bastards, something like that. I gotta find it. If I find it, I'm gonna put it on the screen. I forget exactly what the slogan was, but basically, he gonna hang a motherfucker. He don't want to see you. He don't want to shoot. He wants you to hang. So anyway, so like I said, Oswaldo let Major know you can't do that. So he like, all right, cool. So like I said, when John was questioning it, he asked Daisy, like, is any of these people working with you? She like, I'm working with all these fellas. I'm working on everybody. And Major Warren looking like, I think she telling the truth. And John Ruth did too. So John Ruth was like, is anybody in here working with her? Like, they gonna tell them the truth though. Like they really gonna tell you, yeah, we working with her. No. So instead, since nobody wanted to answer, he made everybody that was in there give up their weapons. Joe Gage, Oswaldo, Bob, anybody that had a weapon, he made it give it up. Well, when he went to Joe Gage first, Joe Gage didn't want to give up his gun because he was like, if I give up mine, you don't even want in here. I don't trust you like that, my man. And John Ruth like, I don't care what you don't trust. Give it up. He didn't want to. So Major came up with a knife real swiftly, put it to the neck and said, give it up. Or, you know what I'm saying? So he gave it up. Now, Joe unarmed, Oswaldo unarmed. So now it's just Major Warren and John Ruth with firearms in the building, right? So John Ruth dismantles the weapons, right? And he tells OB to take it to the outhouse, and OB like, why the hell I gotta go? Like, what the heck, man? Come on now. He like, you don't even want to trust, bro. Go take it to the outhouse and throw it out. One, it ain't just he trusts Major Warren. He just knew he couldn't get Major Warren to go outside and throw that shit in the outhouse. So he had to pick the best thing, which really he could have picked Chris Mannix to do it too. But I digress. So OB goes outside to throw it outside. While he goes outside, everybody gets some stew, and they all eating stew, except for I think Joe Gage and Sandy Smithers. I don't think they was eating no stew, but everybody else was eating stew. So while they sitting at the table eating some stew, and I ain't gonna lie, that stew was looking magnificent. While they sitting there eating the stew, OB finally comes back in, and he 38 hot, and I ain't mad at him because it's like, bro, what the heck? So, he like, I don't want no stew, I don't want no coffee. I just want to sit here in front of the fireplace and warm up. Leave me be. So everybody leave him be. Well, Chris Mannix, oh, I skipped something I did. So here's a red flag that happened in the beginning of the movie, y'all. So when Chris Mannix finally came in and introduced himself as the sheriff of Red Rock, Oswaldo asked Chris Mannix for his letter to Abe Lincoln. And Chris Mannix like, I don't got no damn letter to Abe Lincoln. And that was the first red flag. If nothing else was a red flag, that was definitely the first red flag, because nobody had said anything about an Abraham Lincoln letter. Nobody. So how did he know? It's beyond me. Well, anyway, fast forward back to this part that I was getting ready to get to. That just made me think that I missed that part. So while they're communicating or talking, whatever, Chris Mannix brings up Major Warren's Abraham Lincoln letter, and he basically exposed that Major Warren lied, and that there's no way Abraham Lincoln wrote him a letter, because that would make them friends. If they were pen pals, that'll make them friends. So he pointed out Major Warren lied, and it hurt Chris. Not Chris. I'm sorry. It hurt John Ruth. He felt betrayed, but like Major Warren said, I felt the safest when y'all were disarmed. The same thing Chris Mannix said in the carriage, though. Chris Mannix said that the only way white folks is safe is if black people are disarmed. and they're in fear. Black people need to be in fear in order for white folks to be safe. So same thing that Major Warren said. That letter made white people feel comfortable with him, so therefore he felt safe, right? So John Ruth mad at Major, but Major don't give a damn. It is what it is, you know. So Major Warren, he's still on his bullshit. He see Sandy Smithers sitting in that chair. He ain't moved a muscle. He ain't eating no stew or none of that. So Major make him some stew, put it down on the table next to him, asked if he could sit in front of him. He said yes. They start talking. Now, Major Warren knew what he was doing because he sat in front of that man. He talked to him for a while. And then you find out Major Warren got beef with Sandy Smithers because Sandy Smithers denied the black troops uniforms, covers, and food when they was in the war, so they died. So ever since then, they had beef because of that. So Major Warren and him are going back and forth. Warren tells him that he knew his son up until the day he died, is what he told him. And Sandy Smith is like, you ain't know my boy, quit capping. And Chris Manning's like, hey, don't fall for him. He don't know your son. Do not fall for that. He just saying that to get in your head. Don't believe him. So Major Warren starts telling this story, and the story is diabolical. You got to watch the movie to hear the story that he told Sandy Smithers about how he knew his son and what he did to his son. Because Major Warren knew what he was doing, so he put a gun right next to that stew that he gave Sandy Smithers to see what Sandy would do. So he's telling him gruesome by inch by inch story about what he did to that man's son. And it's eating Sandy Smithers up. It's eating him up. So as he's telling him this story, he gets to the very end and he keeps repeating the last part about what he made his son do to him. He kept repeating that same part, different ways, but repeating it over and over again. And Smithers couldn't take it no more, so he upped the blicky, tried to shoot, and Major took him out. So now General Smithers is no more. Major Warren got what he wanted. He knew he could play this dangerous game with Sandy Smithers and take a chance on Sandy Smithers attempting to do what he did or ignoring it. Sandy Smithers took the bait and got popped. Simple as that. Now, before we jump into the next chapter, give me just a brief moment. I need to do something. All right, we back at it. So, chapter 4, Dahmer Goose Got a Secret. So basically, chapter 4, Dahmer Goose Got a Secret is kind of self-explanatory. So, we get this little speed story about what Dahmer Goose saw. So basically, OB and Joe Gage took Sandy Smithers' body outside somewhere and did something with it. Chris Mannix, John Ruth, and Oswaldo were communicating about the situation that just took place. And Major Warren was like, I really don't give a damn. I'm going to drink this brandy to mind my business. And then I believe Bob was doing something. I don't know exactly what he was doing, to be honest with you. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I just thought about something. How did Joe... Wait a minute. I just thought about something. And I'm going to get to it when I get to the notes. I'm sorry, y'all, because I just thought about something. But anyway, so while all that's going on, you see somebody do something to the coffee. Somebody poisoned it, basically. Somebody poisoned the coffee, right? So Dahmer Goose saw it. Of course, she ain't going to say nothing because she trying to get free. So she don't care. So she asked John Ruth, can I play that guitar? He like, go ahead. Don't give a damn. Go ahead. So she gets the guitar, she starts playing and singing a song, and the song is about her and John Ruth basically. And in the song, she basically tells John Ruth that he's gonna die and she's gonna be off into Mexico when he's dead, and she can't wait for that to happen. So John Ruth like, oh, bitch, please. He take the guitar, smack that mother, told her enough of it. I done had enough of your slick mouth. So he cuffed her to back to his wrist, and she like, oh nah, bro, come on. So he cuffed her back to his wrist. Now they both sitting there. Uh, Now they both just sitting there, right? And OB and Joe come back in, and OB, uh, oh, one thing that it was funny is when she said that song, when she got to sing that song after he cuffed her back to him. Every time she would move quick or something, he was on her ass because he was terrified. He didn't know what type of time she was on, but he wasn't quick enough because right after that, OB drank some coffee and OB start throwing up blood like real bad, and John Ruth looked at Daisy, then looked back at OB who's throwing up blood, and next thing you know, he start throwing up blood. And Daisy over there cracking up. She cracking up. Chris Mannix is about to drink the coffee. John Ruth yelled out to Chris, the coffee is poison. Don't drink it. So Chris, he panic, drops it, right? OB, John Ruth both throwing up blood. OB dies instantly. Like after like a couple, he was out of there. John Ruth though still had a little fight in him. Because I don't know if it was adrenaline or what it was, but it kept him alive long enough because he started haymaking Domergue. It wasn't good enough though, because right before he could try to, like, I guess you could say, bash her face in, she took one and put it through him. And Major Warren, like, give me the pistol before I put two in your head. Give it here. She give it to him. Now Major's holding this investigation, and he trying to figure out who poisoned the coffee. So he tell everybody get against the wall. Oswaldo, Bob, Joe Gage, even Chris Mannix. Of course, Daisy can't get against the wall because she's handcuffed to John Ruth's dead body now. And he tell Chris to come off the wall because Chris couldn't have possibly poisoned it when he was getting ready to drink it. So it's between Joe Gage, Bob, and Oswaldo. One of you three poisoned the coffee. Because it couldn't have been Daisy. She was sitting down. So it couldn't have been her. Because she hadn't gotten up. When John uncuffed her while they was eating, she didn't move a muscle off that chair. She didn't move. So now Major like, who did it? So now he get an investigator mode. He start breaking shit down. He start cracking the case immediately. First thing he points out is about Bob. That's the first person he went after. He tells Bob, if you started working for Minnie just a few months ago, you would have known that she had a sign that said no dogs and no Mexicans. She took it down 2 years ago because she started letting dogs in, not because she started letting Mexicans in. She don't like Mexicans. So for you to be working for her is highly unlikely. And then her stew. If she left, how was her stew here the same day if she's gone? Sweet Dave, if he's gone, why is his chair still here? He would have took his chair with him. So he tells him, you asked me in the stable earlier, was I calling you a liar? And I said no. Well, now I am, because you're lying. And he tells him point blank, if all that's true, that means you killed Minnie and Sweet Dave. And he put bop, 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 a couple in Bob real quick, and then walked over and bow, took Bob's whole face off, right? Now we got Oswaldo and Joe Gage still alive, right? So Major, after he did all that to Bob, he says to Oswaldo and Joe, if one of y'all don't tell me who poisoned this coffee, I'm going to put two in her head. I'm going to blow her head smooth off right along like I just did Bob. So Joe, he frantically admits to pointing the coffee. To poisoning the coffee. He like, I did it. Well, Major, right before he can even finish his speech, gets shot in his groin by somebody in the basement. Right? And when he gets shot, Chris Mannix panics and takes his eyes off of Oswaldo and Joe And when he does, Oswaldo shoots him in the side, and which, of course, at a reflex, Mannix shoots Oswaldo back, right? He's getting ready to shoot Joe, but Joe like, I ain't got no gun, bro. Don't shoot me. I ain't got no gun. Don't shoot me. So now, because he's unarmed, he don't get shot, but everybody else is shot. Daisy, the man in the basement, and Joe are the only three that ain't shot. Major, Chris Mannix, and Oswaldo, those three are shot. So we only got 6 people left. Now, before we get into the final part of the movie, let's talk about chapter 5, The Four Passengers. The Four Passengers is about Oswaldo, Joe, Bob, and Jody. These 4 passengers pulled up to Minnie's haberdashery. They were taken or brought in by, let me get the people's name because I feel bad not knowing their name. So hold on. Hold on. I'm gonna get y'all their name in just a second. So the lady who brought them in was 6-Horse Judy, and the old guy that was with her, I don't know his name. I don't even see him listed. Maybe it was Ed. It might have been Ed. But anyway, so that's who brings them in. And Charlie comes out to greet them. Charlie works for Minnie's haberdashery. And Charlie tells them, like, hey, Minnie got this old cat in here that she wants y'all to get out, which was Sandy Smithers. He was like, I don't know what he did, but she don't want him in there. And they like, what you want us to do? He like, I don't know, get him out of here. So they go in, they take everybody in, get them settled in. Well, 6-Horse Judy, she takes Oswaldo, Bob, Joe, and Jody into the haberdashery. She gets them in there, get them settled in. They in there playing nice, on some fake shit. They in there being nice. Jody has Minnie roll him a tobacco. Joe Gage bought 5 sticks of peppermint from Minnie, and Oswaldo, he's buying jelly beans from Gemma, and they in there trying to play nice. They trying to fake the funk. Well, they waited for the right time, and when they felt like they had everybody in there except for Charlie wasn't in there. Everybody else was in there, and as soon as they felt like they had the right time, they start popping people. Jody killed Minnie, and Oswaldo killed Gemma. Joe Gage killed 6-Horse Judy. Bob, he killed Sweet Dave. I don't remember if the old dude got killed or not. That's why I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch it because I don't know who killed him or if he even died. And then while all that was going on, Charlie walks back in like he didn't hear all that and gets shot in the leg. I think by Bob, if I'm not mistaken. Bob shot him in the leg, and Bob is the reason why the door was busted. Because when he shot Charlie shut the door back, and he kept shooting through the door, and he busted the door real bad. So Joe Gage went outside and killed Charlie because he found his blood trail, and and it killed him or whatever. And while that's going on, Jody's in there talking to Sandy Smithers, and he tells Smither point blank, there's a man by the name of John Ruth who's going to come in here with my sister. You keep your mouth shut. We get him out the way. We let you go scot-free. Right? And Smith is like, hey, do your thing, bro. Do your thing. So remember earlier when I told y'all the Smithers wouldn't talk to John Ruth? That's why he wouldn't talk to John Ruth. It's because he wasn't supposed to. That was part of the agreement and part of the deal. He really wasn't supposed to be saying nothing to nobody. For real, for real. It's really what he asked. But, that's that. Now, we get into the last chapter, which is called Black Man, White Hell. This chapter, Major and Chris are still running the show. They're still in control of everything. They have Jody come out from the basement, right? He throw his guns out. He, comes out, and he giving up, and he turns to talk to Daisy. And after they exchange words, Major blows the back of Jody's head off and splatters his brains all over Daisy's face. And Daisy, she mad. Like, bro, my brother was giving up, which in Daisy's defense, he was giving up. But in Major's defense, you shot me in my groin. I'm definitely going to shoot you now. So it's a 50-50. But anyway, so we find out. Well, hold on. Before I jump to that part, this is important. Joe was still standing up. Joe asked to go sit at a table. See, in the Four Passengers chapter, they were planting guns all over the haberdashery after they took it over, right? And Joe asked to go sit at this table where one of the guns is hidden at. And I don't know how nobody didn't see the gun, but he asked to go sit at the table. Major tells him to keep his hands on the table where they can see it, and it's cool. So when all that happens, we find out that Bob was actually Marco the Mexican, who was worth 12 grand. Oswaldo is actually Pete Hitchcock, who was worth about 15. See, and Major Warren said that to Oswaldo. He said, how do I know the real Oswaldo ain't dead somewhere and you running around here pretending to be him? Because he was right. Now, we got Joe Gage, who's actually Grouch Douglas. He's worth about 10K. And Daisy, who's also worth 10K, right? So Daisy starts trying to convince Chris try to convince Chris to take a deal, right? She's like, if you take a deal, you know what I'm saying, all is forgiven. We'll look past what happened and blase this, blase that. And Chris like, I don't know. Like, you know, you ain't sold me yet. So he gets to, she gets to telling them, oh, you can have, Oswaldo's body, you can have Marco the Mexican's body, and blah blah blah. And Chris is like, well, what about Jody's body? He's worth a lot. And she like, oh no, I'm taking him back. So Chris like, I don't know then. I don't think we really can have no deal. So Chris start talking that good smooth shit to Daisy. I mean, he talking real cold cash shit. And oh wait, hold on. When they was trying to get him to take the deal, while Major and Chris weren't paying attention, Joe Grouch Douglas, he tried to shoot them. And so did Oswaldo. Major shot Oswaldo, and then Chris and Major ended up shooting Joe and killing Joe. I almost forgot about that part because Joe ended up dying because they ended up killing him. Well, back to what I was getting ready to talk about. So when Chris is up, he stands up. Like I said, he got shot, so he's a little weak. He's using a chair to kind of walk around, and he's talking that good jazz to Daisy. He passes out. But while they were talking the deal previously, Warren had asked Chris to give him one of the pistols, right? Chris wouldn't give it to Warren. But see, Chris, like I said, he passes out. So now Major don't got no gun. You done passed out. Daisy's still up and moving. Oswaldo kinda sorta still alive, but not really. And Joe dead. So Daisy realizes that Chris is passed out. Major can't really do nothing because he got shot in the groin, so he can't move that good. So she starts dragging John Ruth's body over to where this machete is. And when she gets over there, she starts hacking away at his arm. She gets his arm free. Now, Chris is still passed out, right? She tried to run to the gun that was on the floor from when they shot Joe Gage. And Chris, who wasn't really passed out 100%, wakes up, bah, shoots her in like her shoulder, puts one in her. And while they discuss what to do with her, because Chris want to put her out, her misery, he want to shoot her and take her out. Major like, nah, we ain't gonna cheat John Ruth the hangman. He was taking her in the Red Rock to hang, so we gonna hang her just like he asked, and we gonna honor it because he saved your life. Had he not told you about that coffee, you be just like the rest of them. So Chris like, bet. So they hang her. And while that's going on and they watch the heifer hang, Chris asked for the Abraham Lincoln letter. And Major finally agrees and lets Chris read it. And the movie pretty much it ends with Chris reading the letter. Old Mary Todd's calling. I guess that means it's time for bed. He crumbles the letter up, throws it, and then they pass out. Well, the camera goes off. We don't. I don't know if they. I'm assuming they died. I'm assuming they bled out to death. Um, but I believe everybody died in Minnie's haberdashery. I believe every single soul died in Minnie's haberdashery. Over 15 people probably died in Minnie's haberdashery that day. So that's how the movie ends. Now, for the final few segments of the show, we get into my notes section. And I know I like to talk about the notes, baby. So, just a quick little tip. This is Quentin Tarantino's 8th film, by the way. This was his 8th film. I did notice that in the movie, Chris and Oswaldo was drinking at the same coffee cup for a while, and that was some nasty shit if you ask me, but that's none of my business. One thing I want to know is, how is it that Major was the only one to notice instantly that something was going on in Minnie's haberdashery? And to me, I don't get how John Ruth didn't notice something was off when Oswaldo asked about the Abraham Lincoln letter, and nobody mentioned anything about Abraham Lincoln's letter. So I'm like, I also want to know, how did Oswaldo, Joe Gage, and them know that there were other passengers on the carriage? Like, who told them that there was more people on there? I still haven't figured that part out. I'm gonna go back and rewatch it because maybe I missed that, but I still don't know how they knew that. But anyway, um, when Major was testing Bob in the stable, Bob knew that Major was going to be a major problem because Bob knew that Major knew they was full of shit. He knew. Bob knew Major was on to them. He just couldn't prove it yet. But I think Bob assumed that they have enough time because they be tired from the ride. So I think Bob felt like they have enough time, they'll fall asleep, they can get what they need to get done and be on their merry way. I don't think Bob anticipated on Major and them staying up as long as they did. Like I said earlier, that little stew they was eating looked real fire. It looked real good. I ain't gonna lie to you, the stew looked bussin'. Alright. John was dirty for how he kept sending OB outside. Cause honestly, had John not sent OB outside a second time, I don't think OB would have been drinking that coffee to warm up. And it's kind of John's fault OB died the way he did, because had he not kept sending him outside, he wouldn't have been freezing cold and wouldn't have needed that coffee to warm up. So it's definitely, in my opinion, it's John Root's fault that OB died the way he did. Also, I get Major Warren had beef with Sandy Smithers, but that diabolical story he told Sandy Smithers, even if it was true, that story was diabolical. He's scandalous for telling that man that and then taking him out the way he did. You could have told him any other story to get him mad, but you had to tell him the most gruesome and horrifying story about what you did to his son before you took him out. I said, boy, this one cold piece of work right here, man. One cold piece of work. Like I said, Major's story was diabolical. Also, to me, Minnie was way too friendly. Way too friendly. There's no way that I'd have been that friendly with 4 passengers who looked the way they was looking. They looked grimy. They looked sketchy. Minnie should have had her a pistola, because they would have all been. No, she was too friendly. Charlie was tripping. How did you not hear them gunshots outside? You was out. I know the blizzard was going, but you telling me the wind was whipping that fast, you didn't hear nothing strange? And then too, when he got shot, I don't get why he didn't get up on top of the little horse carriage thing and he hauled his ass out of there with them 6 horses. I don't care if I don't know how to run a 6-man horse. I figure it out. I will figure it out. But I wouldn't have been going and trying to go hide in no damn little shack building behind the thing like they not gonna find me. You're bleeding. They gonna find you. I would have got on that horse and I would have hauled my ass up out of there and see you later. Everybody dead. What am I gonna die for? So, I'm curious. I wonder if the horses survived. Because if everybody died in Minnie's haberdashery, does that mean the horses died too? Because nobody was able to go tend to them. They were in the freezing cold, no food, no water. So did they die too? That's one thing I was wondering. Two, how in the heck, and this is probably going to be the best point I'm going to bring up, how in the heck did Joe poison the coffee if Joe was outside helping Obi with the goddamn body? If Joe took the body, Sandy Smith's body, outside, how was he in there to poison the coffee? That didn't make sense. Because they said it was a 15-minute lapse, right? So did Joe poison the coffee before they took Sandy Smith's body outside? But if he did that, how did nobody not see him do it? But see, this is the problem. They said that it happened while they were all debating. Or did, oh wait, no. Maybe they did say it happened when Major Warren and Sandy Smithers was talking. So maybe he did poison the coffee then. Actually, maybe he did. Now that I'm replaying it back in my head, maybe he did poison the coffee. Because at first, I thought Oswaldo poisoned the coffee. That's who I thought really poisoned it. Because I know it wasn't Marco because he was playing the piano. And I know it wasn't John Ruth, of course, because, but, and Chris Mannix. Because John Ruth and Chris Mannix was engaged in the little situation. So it only left Oswaldo and Joe to be free. I thought Oswaldo poisoned it. I didn't think Joe did it. And I still think it was Oswaldo. I think Joe was just taking the heat to take the heat. That's just my opinion. So that's the end of the notes. In concluding the film, y'all know when I would like to rate that film, I always got to give an honest opinion because I'm not being biased. This was really a good movie. And if you didn't like it, I understand. Not everybody has the same taste as me, but this was a really good movie. And I had to give it a 10 out of 10, to be honest with you. And the reason why I rated it a 10 out of 10 is because once again, this is another film that has not been told the way this film has been told. The storyline was immaculate. The cast was immaculate. Everybody executed the hell out of their roles. This was a movie that just everybody did their big one. There was not a soul on that screen that I was like, they acting was horrible. No. Everybody's acting was good to me. Everybody who had small roles, big roles, everybody's acting was great to me, in my opinion. And then too, the movie kind of, for educational purposes, if you will, it kind of showed you how people can despise a person for absolutely no reason, and how one bad thing that happened can make a trickle effect for everything. For example, Major didn't like Sandy Smithers because of that bad thing he did to the black troops. John Ruth also didn't like Chris Mannix because of Chris Mannix's father. You get what I'm saying? The Mannix family is a bunch of menaces, and that's why John Ruth don't like them. And I slowly started to realize the reason why the movie was called The Hateful Eight is because there were 8 people who had hateful feelings about another human being in their heart. For example, you got Samuel L. Jackson's character, Major Warren. He couldn't stand Sandy Smithers or Chris Mannix, or really nobody for real. He didn't like none of them motherfuckers, to keep it a buck. John Ruth and him was kind of cool, but he didn't like his ass either. Then you got John Ruth, who couldn't stand Chris Mannix. He didn't like Daisy Domergue at all. He ain't like people that did bad shit. Then you got Daisy Domergue, who don't like black people, can't stand a black soul, and don't like, following the law. Then you got Chris Mannix. Chris Mannix, I won't necessarily say he was hateful, but he was. Because he also was a little racist up until the end. Up until the end, he had a lot of racism in his heart. Bob wasn't necessarily hateful to individuals, but to the situation. Because what he participated in, killing Sweet Dave the way he did, was very hateful, very spiteful, very non-demure. It was very just not it. And then you got Oswaldo and Joe Gage. They also on the same line of business with Bob. Just a bunch of nasty, grimy people, right? And what's that? We got Marquez, John Ruth, Daisy, Chris, Bob, Oswaldo, Joe Gage. and then Sandy Smithers. And Mr. Smithers was just General Sandy Smithers was just a racist, hands down. That's where his hateful came in at. Because the co-stars weren't necessarily hateful individuals. Jody wasn't a hateful person. Minnie wasn't a hateful person. OB wasn't a hateful person. Gimme wasn't a hateful person. Charlie wasn't a hateful person. Six Horse Judy wasn't a hateful person. The Hateful Eight was the list that I gave you, and that's just real deal. Like I said, the entire cast did a big one. So I'm even if this episode took over an hour, I'm glad it did because this was a really good movie and it deserved every bit of the information that you guys got to get today. So with that being said, thank everybody for tuning in with your girl. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, and subscribe. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend to tell another friend to come and watch a friend doing a podcast about some movies. Make sure you guys go to patreon.com/movieswithtay to catch up on all the latest information and full episodes that you guys might have missed for Black History and also the miniseries. Like I said, May 14th, a new miniseries will drop. The therapy session is coming next month. We got another Black History legend we're going to start talking about. We're going to go in a different direction. We're going to kind of move out of the political and activism with this new with the next segment. And then the following month, because of a gentleman mentioning a person's name in the comment section, I'm going to do that one in June just for that person. Like I said earlier, if you want me to do an episode for you on the Black History or a particular movie, make sure you drop it in the comment section. If you have any ideas for a miniseries that you want to see me write and act out, put it in the comment section. Once again, it's been your host with the most, Real Taylor Nicole. This is Movies with Tay. Argue with your mama, I'm out.